tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Series A, Dhamma Talk number 36. Today's talk we will call it Equanimity or Upekkha. This Upekkha, one need to understand it quite clearly first. Upekkha is translated in English. There are two printing what you will see. One is indifference and one is equanimity. Both represent this meaning of Upekkha. And most of the people thinks, okay, Upekkha, indifference. What indifference? Whatever things are happening around you. Because the teaching said one must be whenever exciting, happy, success, fame, fortune things, don't get too excited, just be normal. Whenever bad things, stressful things, depressive things, wicked things, loss, fame and fortune and so on. Don't get depressed or don't get low. Just be normal, face in that way. So that is not only referred to what is happening to you, it's also to all situation and condition that is happening around you. Which means these kind of ups and downs, okay, happy and sad, happy and angry, okay, success and failure are also happening to other people as well. And also the reaction or interrelationship with others and you too. There are things or situations where it could be quite disagreeable. Some things are very pleasant and very agreeable, these situations. Okay? In all situations, in all events, one must be indifferent. When it comes to yourself, yeah, okay, I have to be even keel. That understanding is quite well. And also some extended to when other things are happening to other people. Failure and success, okay, happiness and depression. You just look at them and then, oh, Upekkha, indifferent. And some people extended to the point of indifferent. You watch them, oh, he is suffering, oh, he is happy and exciting. You watch and you move on. Happy and exciting, fine, but some people are in a very negative, stressful states. And those things too, you look at it, oh, this is happening, I have to keep Upekkha, indifferent. As soon as you bear that indifference, and then it extended to the point of inactivity and totally passive. Inactivity and passive. That kind of mode, they interpreted that and move on. That is, quite a few number of people interpret this Upekkha in that way. I have to be very even keen at all mode. So it could extend to the totally feeling indifferent and totally inactive and passive mode towards other people's activities or towards other people's situation. But that is not what the Buddha said for this word, upekha. So in here, things are happening to you and to everybody around you, and also the interrelationship with you and other people, good and the bad, highs and the lows. When everything's happening, one must act in a certain way. And all of you, most of you already heard it. We always chant, we call it the Metta chanting, chanting of loving kindness. And there, Sabbe Satta Aveya Hontu. May all beings, which is including you, be free from enmity and danger. And may they be free from suffering. Abhyapesa Hontu, Aniga Hontu. May they be free from mental suffering. Sukhi Atanam Prirahantu. May they be able to keep themselves happily. That is what we do. First of all, you wish for them to be free from suffering and danger, and all physical suffering, mental suffering, and wish them to be happy and well. That is only in terms of thoughts. Sabbe Satta Aveya Hontu, Abhyapeja Hontu, Aniga Hontu, Sukhi Atanam Parikarantu. Wishing well. And then Dukkha Mochantu, may they be free from all form of suffering. Yada Lada Sampatito, whatever things, material and knowledge you have gained and received be with you. And whatever things and material and knowledge gained that you haven't, may they arrive to you and you be endowed with them. And finally, the last word, Kamasaka. It's everything on your own action. So that is a series in there. And if you look at the series, the last word, Kamasaka. Kamasaka is a state of indifference or a state of equanimity. Kamasaka. What it is you look at the situation, whatever result, whatever consequences that person is having is due to his or her own action. And even yourself, whatever consequences and effect and situation you are in, it is the result of my own actions. Cause and effect, cause and effect. You look at it. There's nothing I can do. First of all, to yourself, there's nothing you can do. And also for others too. There's nothing I can do. It is the result of its own one's action. That's the way it is. And you have to let it go. Let it go. So in other words, that is what indifference is. That is what equanimity is. That is what upekha is. You let it go. You don't do anything, but you truly understand that situation is due to this one's own action. But before you come down to that word, at the beginning, you all know, may they be free from enmity and danger, free from physical suffering, free from mental suffering, and so on and so on. We have said it. That is, first and foremost, is in a thought level. And secondly, it is on a speech level. When you're chanting, it is on a speech level. And it doesn't stop there. and you see how you can accurately, in terms of deed, you can involve. You have to see. Okay. Whatever things you can do, you can get involved. Okay. With the exception of using violence and cruelty, hurting and harming. Okay. That is a definite no. Without using those negative mental state, whatever things you can do, you must get involved. And when you get involved too, you don't get involved blindly. First and foremost, okay, I can do this, I can do that. You can figure out how you can get involved. And when you are going to get involved, you have to look at the personality of the person. Will he be susceptible to my help? Some people are, you can call it so proud, I don't want. Or some people, they don't even want people to know their situation. Will they be susceptible? Will it be suitable if I do this? Or is it appropriate? Is it the right time? Is it the right place? And if I do that, will there be a positive change, beneficiality? You figure out all those things, and whatever you can get involved, you get involved. In other words, you help as much as you can, but not blindly, not forcefully, with intelligence and with skill. You help that person, and you help. And of course, we don't have the control of the situation. Sometimes it's fantastic, it's great, you can help. Sometimes, somewhat it's relieved. Sometimes it doesn't have any effect. It's beyond your help. And when you get to the point that is beyond your help, that is the moment you say kamasaka. Kamasaka. In other words, okay, I've done everything I could to relieve that situation, to relieve the suffering, but there's no avail. This whole situation is the actions, the consequences of the action that person has taken, the consequence of the action that I have taken, and I or whoever that is have to go through with these results or consequences. Through understanding and totally let go of that situation. Don't think second time anymore, because you have done all that you could. Totally let go. You don't even dwell in terms of thought anymore. You let it go. And that kind of letting go, that kind of a balanced state of mental attitude, or you can call it indifference, is the right indifference. That is equanimity. That is kamasaka. It doesn't mean simply passive, inactive, don't do, nothing touches me. No, they are starving. So be it, they are starving. It's like totally numbed attitude. That is not upekkha, that is not equanimity. As such, one should understand what upekkha or equanimity or indifference is. At the moment that is beyond whatever you can do, you just let it go. Let it go and move on to the next project or next situation. Of course, there are many things you can learn from it too. And you learn from it, that comes in as a knowledge for you to utilize in future as well. That is the true meaning of what equanimity or indifference or upekkha is. Not simply passive, inactive, not caring, numbed attitude. So one need to understand as such. And in here too, that is upekkha. In general, we can always look at it that way. In fact, we should always look at the world with a view. Okay. All things that are happening that results of its own action. Each and every cause has its own effect or result, and that is operating. And if you look at it that way, you will have a sense of balance in you. In other words, learn how to look. But at the same time, do not forget that love and compassion has to go along with it. Loving kindness and compassion has to go along with it. And after loving kindness and compassion, the final moment beyond your capacity, that is where the equanimity is. So that is one state. In general, one need to have that attitude to the world. You can train. How do you train? Always looking at the world with the phenomenon or the flow of cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. Look at it that way. By viewing that way, by looking at that way, you will have a state of balanced mental attitude, which we call equanimity in general. And then, of course, there are people who practice and who practice and who practice, progress highly and deeply into the insight, and then even cross the threshold of noble person to the area. And in there too, they have this equanimity. Okay? Their equanimity is all the things what I have said that's summarized. Basically, it's simply a summary. It's a lot deeper and can expand a lot more. All the things that I have taught or we have discussed about it, you don't even have to think about it yet. They become a total and complete package. Okay. Total and complete package. To put in a different way, simply a touch of a button. You don't have to, everything is becoming a one simple package or moment. Everything we said is a moment. When you become an Ariya, that equanimity is like that. Of course, eventually at the highest level, it's the Arhata. So at that time, the same thing, Upekkha, equanimity, is given another name. It's called Tatra Maja Tata. Tatra Maja Tata. But that one is, it becomes a part of you. You are Arhata. All is there. They are moving and they are moving and they are moving, they are doing, they are helping, they are helping. But they are always at the moment. Whatever things that they need to do, they are doing it. And the next moment, that is not with them anymore. But they keep moving. Because that equanimity is a part of them. And they are that equanimity. And everything we try to keep a balanced state of mind, it's already balanced in them. They have compassion for the world, they have love for the world, they have loving kindness for the world, and they do whatever is right under the nose instantly. And after that, they keep move on, and they move on. You might be thinking about them. Believe me, those kind of people, they don't think about you anymore. But whenever they are with you, you get 100% of their effort and their care. And that kind of equanimity is called Tatra Maja Tata, the higher form. So that is Upekkha, okay? Equanimity or indifference in general. Another one, the same thing, equanimity. Now we are going to be on a meditation practical sense in terms of meditation. We are meditating mindfulness insight. We are meditating mindfulness insight, and what are we doing? Observing, observing, observing every object, which is simply put physical objects and mental objects that is arising at the moment. We observed, we observed, we observed. And when we are observing, trying to do with the technique as precise as possible, what kind of mental states are we developing at every single moment of observation? At every single moment of observation, when we are observing, we are developing 5 controlling mental states. Always come. Every moment of observation, we are developing 5 controlling mental states. Vinchendriya. What are they? First of all is saddha, faith and confidence. Secondly, viriya, energy and effort. Third, sati, mindfulness. And the fourth is samadhi, concentration. And the fifth is pinya, wisdom. Every observation, if you do correctly, these 5 mental factors are at that moment all together. You observe that rising movement, you observe that falling movement, you are observing that sitting sensation. That 5 is always there. We just call it there, but the full name is Satendriya, Varendriya, Satendriya, and Samadhendriya, and Pinyendriya. Indriya means controlling faculty. The first one is what we said. So each observation, those 5 mental states are always there with you. Always there with you. And we meditate. Every one of us meditate. Some have been meditating here for 3 months, 4 months. Some meditating 3 years, 4 years. Some here for 5 years, 7 years. In this group, we're meditating. And all the time, what are we doing? We are observing, observing, observing. In other words, what are we doing? We are developing this 5 mental state. Every time, 5 mental state. And if we are all doing all the time, 3 months to 7 years, are those people in the 7 years has progressed a lot more than that 3 months? Are the 3 months far behind? Maybe so, or maybe not. Because even though we are observing, even though we are trying very hard for a long period of time, a short period of time, whether we are doing precisely and correctly is the key factor. Of course, we cannot keep on saying, oh, this is precise, this is right, this is wrong. What do? We have to do it repeatedly, 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 with patience, with persistence, above all, commitment. I will not surrender. With commitment. You do and you do and you do. Trying your best and hoping that it is the perfect state is reached. The perfect state for each observation. I'm not talking about perfect state and all finished the end. Each observation. And in there, what is that perfect state? What is that perfect state is? In here, there are 5 mental states. First and foremost is saddha, faith and confidence. Faith and confidence. And we know if you have too much faith, too much confidence, in other words, too much devotion, in Burmese we say, if you have too much devotion, you become attached to that person, to that teacher. Too much devotion. That means too much faith, too much saddha, too much confidence. You rely less on yourself. You have less confidence on yourself, and you have more confidence in the teacher or the person. That is saddha, faith and confidence. You will see, not everybody, but there are some great teachers we all know, we all heard, and when we see these teachers, some people, wow, when the teachers come, they want to be with the teacher every minute, every hour of the day. They will want to follow as soon as they can, as long as they can, as much as they can. They even forgot the balance. How far to, how far not to. That's called too much devotion, too much faith. So this saddha, if it is too much, you got into that kind of attachment mode. And our practice is not to be attached. So it is opposite to what we are supposed to. That is another one thing. Another thing is, when you have too much faith in anything, to any person or any system, you become gullible. You can be easily manipulated. That is also another fact. So saddha, so how much or how little is the right amount? That's a question. And there's another out of these five. This one is called pinya, wisdom or intelligence or knowledge, intelligence or wisdom, that one. And in here too, in this wisdom, okay, you try very hard, you read very hard, you listen very hard, and you don't understand. You don't understand. And if you don't understand all that you're reading, all that you're listening, what kind of progress you can have? Not much. And at the same time, some people, they are very bright, very intelligent. They read it and they know. They heard it and they know. Not only that they know, they have a mind, a very critical mind, analytical mind. Because of that, everything that they read, everything that they hear, they are becoming very critical, and they spend a lot of time on dissecting and analyzing and criticizing. That's one. And also, we all have bias, likes and dislikes. As we have likes and dislikes, and as we have a lot of great intelligence, you use your intelligence and then you rationalize it so that it conforms with your likes and dislikes. That kind of thing happens more than often to many of us. So, too little wisdom is also no good. You don't know how to move farther. Too much wisdom. Okay, I shouldn't say wisdom, let's call it intelligence for the sake of clarity. Too much intelligence, it's also bad for yourself. We even have a saying, too clever for your own good. So there are two. One is the faith, saddha, another one is the pinya, intelligence, knowledge, wisdom, these two. How do you know how much intelligence or application of intelligence and how much faith or application of faith is the right amount? That question arises. And I pick up these two because these two counterbalance each other. Saddha and wisdom. If saddha is in excess, you become gullible, your self-confidence is dwindled down. And if pinya is in excess, you become too clever for your own good. And always one need to balance one against the other. Once again the other. Saddha, faith, and intelligence or wisdom, these need to be in a state of balance. A state of balance. You don't go to the one extreme or you don't go to the another extreme. There's a state of balance. And also another one is effort. Okay. Viriya, effort and energy. If you don't have enough effort and energy, you become lazy, which means you won't progress in your meditation. And if you have too much effort, okay, you become restless. Again too, that effort must be the right amount. And then there's another one called concentration. Concentration is you probe into an object, you penetrate into an object. Okay. If you go too deeply, okay, you fuse with that object and you stay there without much any other application of understanding or investigation. Okay. If you don't have enough concentration, you cannot really penetrate the object. If there's not enough concentration, you cannot see the object with clarity. That is only samadhi concentration. So how much is too deep and how little is not enough? That's the question. And that question again to be answered by putting the two together, effort and concentration. Viriya and samadhi. These two has to be always in a state of balance. Try to keep in a state of balance. Those are the 4 out of 5. But mindfulness is one must apply in every single moment. One must apply in every single moment. That is the job one need to do. And in here, if you put too much effort to be mindful, then you become restless and you can't concentrate. And then you got concentration and you go too deep. When you go too deep, automatically your effort dwindles. And then when your faith is too much, you don't really think about yourself and you only follow what you've been told. And when there's too much intelligence, you keep dissecting and analyzing everything that you are experiencing and everything you heard and everything you read, and you live in that world of dissection and analyzing, which is a wheelhouse of thinking, not investigating. So those are in a state of balance. Effort and concentration must be in a state of balance. Neither one go to this extreme or that extreme. Faith and wisdom must be in a state of balance. You go neither to this extreme or that extreme. And you're observing. When you observe it, first and foremost, be relaxed. Be relaxed. Don't try to manipulate the flow of the observation. Relax. Don't try to manipulate the flow or the observation. Don't make it quicker, don't make it slower. But always be mindful, be mindful, be mindful. Resolve to be mindful of every present moment. With commitment and persistence. And if you do that, you observe, you observe, you observe. Don't think every observation is you're trying it perfectly, they will be always in a state of every observation balance. No, it's not. It's always a little bit of we don't know. It's always disbalance, disbalance, disbalance. But don't think about, is it balance or is it not balance? What you know is when you become restless, you know that there's too much effort. When you become lazy and sleepy, you know that there's not enough effort. And when you are very critical and analyzing of everything, every little experience, you experience things and then you dissect it and you make the mountain out of a mole. That is where you go and spin around and around, going around. That is how you know. But you don't know where the perfect balance state is. The only thing is, relax. Don't manipulate the flow. Just observe as they arise, as they come. Be persistent, don't give up, never surrender. Above all, commitment to this meditation. That's it. And when you do again and again and again and again, at one moment, you just hit that little perfect balance state. Perfect balance state. Effort and concentration is in perfect balance. Saddha, faith, and wisdom in perfect balance, and you are executing the observation, the mindfulness with precision. And whenever those little moments come in, 2, 3, 4, 5 times successively, those are the little times you begin to experience something that you don't experience before. Those are the times you see something, you feel something that you haven't experienced before. And those little things, I loosely call it special effect. Okay, more like a movie, video, they have a special effect, something like fantastic they make it. Just like that, those little special effects pops up. Those little special effects are the glimpse of insight. And when those glimpses of insight arise, only at the moment when you have those mental states, 5 mental states, in perfect unison and balance. You have that. And when you practice again, and those little special effects disappear for about a month. And if you are choosing to recreate it, you won't get it. Simply just do it. And they come again, and the frequency becomes more and more and more. And eventually, you got to a state, these kind of balanced states are continuous for a certain period, 15, 30 minutes, sometimes 1 hour, sometimes even go beyond an hour, 2 hours, continuously in a balanced state. How do you know that you have that balanced state? The way you know is automatically you're observing. When you observe it, these object arises. You know instantly the moment arises, and you know instantly the moment it disappears. Very sharply and very clearly. And then next one, the next one, the next one, sharply and clearly, sharply and clearly, sharply and clearly. every one of them instantly at every moment. That is how you feel or see. Another factor, at that moment, you do not feel like at all that you are applying any effort. It seems like you are just there doing nothing, and these things are flowing in front of you. More like automatically happen, auto mode. You felt you don't have to apply anything before you have to put a lot of effort, or rising, falling, or disappear, thinking, like more like a struggle. At this moment, there's no effort is necessary, and everything is arising and passing away in front of you, more on an auto mode. And that means at that moment, you have every 5 mental states in a perfect execution. It is happening. That perfectly balanced mental state where you can observe in such a way is equanimity, upekkha. Equanimity. Your mental states are in a total balanced state. It neither way to the left or to the right, neither way to the faith or to the intelligence, neither way heavier onto the viriya effort or into the concentration. Mindfulness is perfectly execution on an auto mode. That is equanimity, upekkha. At that mode, you are totally in a state of, you can call it equanimity, you can call it indifference. You are simply there, simply an observer, always in the state of flow and mode. You simply watch, like you are not even participating, you are not even putting effort, but at the same time you are aware of all things. That is equanimity, upekkha. That's on a meditation practical point. But at the same time, when you experience these meditative moment-to-moment equanimity mode, upekkha state, those things rubs on you. The longer you have, the more you have. It rubs on you. And even though you are not in meditation, the way you look at the world, the way you relate with the world, the way you relate with other peoples also become in that balanced mode. So don't think it is only the meditative mode. That is the direct experience, but has to be repeated, repetition. And that balanced mental state, equanimity, mode of equanimity, carries into your daily life, and the way you relate with the world also become quite balanced and quite equanimous. Back again, it is not simply sitting and watching what other people's are happening. At the same time, remember, there's wisdom, intelligence is there. That wisdom is telling you what to do, what not to do, how to help, how to alleviate suffering. That one is also telling you. But at the same time, the faith or saddha wanting to do, you don't just overly doing it. Sometimes you want to do so much, you try to do good, but something bad happens. That doesn't happen too, because that saddha, faith, is also balanced. In the world that you're facing, that saddha and that pinya is in a balanced state, and you simply just know how to do without affecting to you the world chaos and suffering. that is upekkha, equanimity. So may all of you be able to practice, experience the mental state of equanimity and meditative state continuously, repeatedly, and skillfully, and may that be able to carry out into the world of interrelation and create a happy and peaceful world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddham Pujami. Dhammam Pujami.